Hello, folks. I'm Detroit Miracle. Yes, and indeed. Right now, I am here to talk about the private system and public system that works in conjunctions with communities, inner cities, neighborhoods, and etc. Like people think that the suburbs is mostly privatized, but the inner cities and neighborhoods are mostly public in regards to public services. So, in other words, people think that the well to dos of the suburbites and suburbias of the world they essentially pay for everything out of their pocket, their own private this, their own private that. Like, for instance, like they got their own private ice cream services, their own private AMLAM services, their own private police forces. Like people think suburbia is privatized like that, but it's not. Because in fact, suburbia also relies on public services just like the inner cities and neighborhoods do. So yeah, so the privatized, so there's no such thing as the privatized and the public being separate from one another as far as services given to communities of both suburbia and inner city. And people think that if it's public, you got little ownership over it. That's the concept. But the concept with the suburbias and suburban communities are that since all those people can afford their stuff, then they own it, so it is more private. So in other words, if somebody make it, they're gonna be thinking to go the suburbia way, move out there where they can own everything, be a part of that pool collective that is privatized. But like I said, suburbia relies on public services just like the inner cities do. And some people think that the inner cities aren't privatized, but in fact, they are wrong about that too, because private services are something that you can provide yourself. Like you can get a pool community together, a large number of people from the inner cities, and put in to provide services that are private for yourselves and your communities. You can do that in the inner cities too. So, in other words, both privatized services and public services exist in both the inner city communities and the suburban communities everywhere. There's no such thing as something only being private or public, but rather both. If you make it both, you get more security and more of a guarantee that way, folks. So, okay, I wanted to explain a little bit about that, and then there's always more. Just comment on it. Ask if you want to know more. Ask me about it.